Alright, here we are back working on Project Elvira. As you can see, I've got the frame in a roller state. This is a mock-up roller, a roller mock-up if you will. This is just to determine if I have problems, to kind of slap it all together and look for problem areas that need to be improved. The last video I talked about getting the swing arm installed in this frame. We'll talk about that again here in just a minute. As you can see, it's installed. I've got the rear suspension in place, but we'll start at the front and work our way back. So starting at the front, the ZRX 1100 forks. The triple clamps actually bolt right up with a set of adapter bearings from All Balls Racing, which are on the way. Right now, they're just loosely bolted in there. Or the triple clamps are loosely bolted in there just to get everything spaced out and making sure that it's fitting properly. The wheel, front axle, I've test fitted the brakes. All of that looks great. I was back and forth on what I wanted to do with the front fender. I have an old KZ650 LTD front fender, chrome, that I think I'm going to be able to adapt to fit. So far, from what I've tried, that should actually fit over the front tire. I'll have to space it out and actually modify that in order to make it fit, right? But that should actually work quite well. The one big problem area that we're going to have here at the front that I discovered is the KZ650 has a fork stop built into the bottom of the head stem. So come down here, look right here, there's a post. Can you see that? You have to come over here. There's a post at the bottom here that interferes with the lower triple clamp, and it does not work as a fork stop at all with these triple clamps. So that post is going to have to come off in order to eliminate that interference, and I'm going to have to come up with another fork stop solution. I've got 2 or 3 ideas. I'm going to see what I can do to make that happen, but I will not have these forks slamming into the sides of my tank. I will have a good set of fork stops in place by the time this project is done. Moving back, I got the Superbike bars, which are my preference for this style of bike. They always look good, they always feel good, they work just right. Coming back to the swing arm, I did clearance the inside of the frame. I took about 2 millimeters off of each side of the inside of the frame to get the swing arm to fit, and it pivots just fine, no interference. Also, if you look down here, you'll notice that I took the passenger peg mounts off of the frame. That is not because they were interfering with the swing arm. They weren't touching the swing arm at all. I did that for 2 reasons. One, to clean up and streamline the frame, just to make it look better, and 2, because the passenger pegs are going somewhere else, and I don't need those tabs sticking out there to hang the exhaust off of anymore. I'll have a different exhaust system with a different design that won't require those tabs to hang off of. So I went ahead and just took them off, cleaned the frame up, and that's one more step towards getting this frame ready for powder coating. Come on back. These are the original KZ650 shocks. These are not the shocks that I will be running on this bike, but they're great to use for mock-up. These are 13-inch long shocks. The shocks that are going on this bike will be 14 inches in length, and I will be dropping the front forks by 1 inch. So adding an inch to the rear, dropping the forks by an inch will put the tail up a little bit more and the nose down just a little bit more. Right now it's sitting pretty level. Once I put the tires on, it's probably going to be just a little bit tail high, but once I change the shocks and the fork settings, it'll be a little bit more of a sport bike attitude. If you come back here, you can see that the wheel actually centered up quite well with the swing arm. It's always good to trust Kawasaki's engineers when it comes to stuff like that, and they did it right. They got it right. The one complication here, and probably one of the most difficult problems that will need to be solved, is the chain line. If you look at the rear sprocket and where it's positioned, it is way outside what the width of the rear tire is going to be. And if you eyeball that up through the frame, if I put a 5/8 inch offset front sprocket on the engine, that's going to set the chain right up against the inside of the frame. And so that may be the easy solution. I may just have to hammer the inside of the frame just a little bit to clearance it for the chain, or I may end up having to machine the inside surface of this sprocket carrier down by 4 or 5 millimeters to move this sprocket in closer to the wheel in order to get it off of the inside of the frame going up to the engine. I'll have to fit the engine in the frame with the rear wheel in place in order to get those measurements and see what I've got to change or modify in order to get that right. But coming around now, take a close look at the right side of that swing arm. You'll see the previous owner of that swing arm decided that he was going to do a massive burnout before he tore apart the bike, I guess, or had somebody else tear apart the bike. And so it's got tire rubber melted all over it. It's probably going to take me a couple hours to clean all of that rubber off of that raw aluminum. One of the things about the ZRX 1100 swing arm is that it is probably one of the prettiest, most elaborate swing arms to ever come out of Kawasaki. Especially, I like the 1100 over the 1200. The 1200 is made out of extruded aluminum tubing. This is actual plain old just round tubing, and it's bent up, and it's raw aluminum, and it's really nice. So I like the way that looks. But I got to get all that rubber off of there, so that's going to take some time. Coming back around, we get back around to the front, and so again, this is just, the purpose for this is just to find all the problems that need to be resolved that are going to come up as I'm doing the final assembly on this bike. So I've got less than a handful of big problems that I need to solve on this bike, and probably the next step is to mount the engine up. I'll probably have to mount the engine up in order to find out how much offset I need on the front sprocket to set the chain line, get the front and rear sprockets aligned, make any modifications to the frame that I need to make in order to get all that squared away, and then tear it all back down again, send the frame out to powder coat, and start working on detailing the chassis parts out, refinishing things, cleaning things, and then get started into building the engine. But this is just the roller mock-up, just a quick update on Project Elvira, and I think that's all I have for today. Thanks, ride safe. So just a couple shout outs here. One is to my camera person, my lovely wife Nicole. Say hello, Nicole.
Hello, Nicole.
Also, I contacted my local machine shop, Hamilton Machine in Nashville, Tennessee. They're great folks over there, covered up with work all the time, and they also run a 24-hour shop. So talked to them about doing up the adapter sleeve for the swing arm, and they emailed me back and said, you don't have to do all that, you don't have to pay us $200 to do all that. Here's a supplier where you can order some stainless steel tubing that fits your criteria perfectly. And they sent me the link, and I ordered the tubing up, and it cost me less than a third what I was going to have to pay them to build me something custom. So big shout out to Hamilton Machine in Nashville, Tennessee. Excellent folks over there. I also want to talk about what's going on here in Tennessee. Of course, it's October. It's a little bit cold, a little bit dreary. It's been raining for 3 days straight now and doesn't look like it wants to dry up and warm up anytime soon. So these are great times for me to be inside working in the shop. Nicole works during the day, and I'm here wrenching on the bike, working on the project. So we only get to film, once a week, once every 3 days, something like that. So that is why these updates show lots of progress in between each of the updates, because I'm a bike builder who is starting into YouTube as kind of just an avocation, a side thing. I'm not a YouTuber who happens to build bikes, so hopefully my production quality will improve as we go along here. Nicole is improving her videography skills, and I'm trying to improve my narrative skills, but that's going to be a long road. But a couple shout outs there, and I want to say thank you to the few people that have subscribed and have looked at my videos so far. This will be video number 4, and we are moving forward. But thanks for watching, and this is Cowboy signing out.